Boycotting the Congress of South African Trade Central Executive Committee held from this week, Monday until Wednesday, illuminated the internal turmoil and factions within the once acclaimed federation. Leadership disputes, division and financial mismanagement have left the working class worst affected. Well, let's just understand what's going on. And we are joined in studio by Benchmark Foundation advocacy and lobbying specialist Hassen Lorgat to shed a little bit more light on this issue. Hassen, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Welcome to Morning Live. This is really, it's not a nice situation for an organisation that really has been a pillar of strength. It's always been there, it's been stable, but now everything that's going on is just not a good indication for the working class, because that's who's going to suffer ultimately.
Very, very truly, and because this, but it can't be only judged with Vavi's absence. I mean, this has been coming for a long while. And it's interesting that the number of unions, 8 of them outside, had their own internal issues. I mean, for example, in NUMSA, at one stage had expelled in its own recent history one of its leading leaders now, Dinga. You know, Kausa, Sakau, the different incarnations of the commercial union itself expelled black consciousness adherents earlier. So these unions have evolved a long time. So I think in one way, this is a very, very sad point, because it looks like the federation is imploding. Yeah. But it may also represent possibilities for realignments, because at the root of this, what we're having is trying to renegotiate where the union movement stands with the ruling party that it fought side by side with for this democracy. It is also there, did the ruling party move more to the right, as some of the others allege? You know, these are the issues that are being realigned. But also, what is the relationship of the union leadership with its own base? It seemed that that connection has moved away. Some of the leadership have got too much closer to government, too much closer to the employers, so the allegations go. And what is said is that the whole agenda of a radical Cosatu seems to be championed by unions outside Cosatu now.
Yeah. Yeah, let's look at the implications of this decision to remove NUMSA from the federation. Do you think it'll cause any long-standing effects, both economically and politically, should there be no resolution?
Well, I think it's inevitable. I mean, this is a fight for the soul of Cosatu. What is the real Cosatu? Marikana represented one break with difficulties around the NUM in its relationship to its members. New unions emerged. Whether the new unions that emerged in the shadow of the NUM there can represent the best traditions of Cosatu is open to debate. But you know, the truth is, it is suggesting something is wrong, but the workers will have to set it right. Rank and file workers will have to set it right, not just the bureaucrats in the offices where Vavi didn't go to that meeting. The true issue is where rank and file workers, ordinary shop stewards and their members will decide. But quite clearly they feel quite bad. They want a militant union against the employers, because CEO pay is rampant. The bosses earn as much as they want, and we're talking about minimum wages. So clearly we need a strong trade union movement. Yeah,
you mentioned Zwelinzima Vavi. That's the story we're looking at. He wasn't there. This was very massively highlighted. And Cosatu are now saying that they're giving him one more chance to explain himself as to why he wasn't there, and also this whole issue into the acquisition of Cosatu's headquarters, because that's another issue that's still hanging.
Yeah. No, I think that these other issues are political issues that emerge always when there's a conflict. Yeah. When I was in the trade union movement, you always heard that so-and-so used this for the ATM, but they don't raise it consistently throughout. No. What is substantial is that for Vavi, if you want to use an analogy of a football team, it's like Sheikh Masaba having 8 of his players, top players outside. NUMSA being one of the top strikers, you know, not wanting to play. Clearly, as a coach, you'll have to be worried. I can understand Vavi's dilemma.
Yeah. Well, you can understand it. So where he's at the moment is something
because NUMSA
acceptable.
Brings in the resources, the financial and political resources. The militant tradition of this federation is inconceivable without the metal union.
Yeah. I mean, it was quite surprising that there were 2 unions, and particularly the football players union, who all along were completely against the expulsion of NUMSA. We're having a look at the football union and the nursing organization. They were both at this meeting. So, you know, you're wondering what's happening behind the scenes as well.
Well, there are realignments, there's always conflict, but I've seen a press statement yesterday which put the football union firmly in a group of 8 unions. So I don't know, you know, it's a moving train, fast moving train. But the truth is, no one should be getting excited about this. It's sad, a sad day for working class people, but it's also an opportunity to renew the union movement.
Yeah, it certainly is. Just in terms, just finally, your vision of the future of this movement going forward. I mean, do you think it can be repaired?
There will be realignments. I think unions outside the 8th, if they come inside, they will have to have new unions coming in. But clearly, whatever happens, they'll have to address new unions, new politics, such as a toleration of difference, recognizing other tendencies. This is the only way it's going to be rebuilt. A greater pluralism, less closeness to ruling parties. This is the only way that the union movement will renew itself.
Yeah. All right, let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much for talking to us here on the program. Benchmark Foundation Advocacy and Lobbying Specialist Hassen Lorgat here on the program talking to us about Cosatu's issues, the committee meeting held from Monday until Wednesday, but the Grand Omission, Zwelinzima Vavi, not being there, and his presence really felt not being there. So let's wrap it there, and we'll continue to watch that story very, very closely.